Hello, I'm here today with an unboxing, and I already have cat hair on the bag. This just arrived in the mail today. All I did was cut the packages so that you wouldn't have to see me messing about with scissors. And just make sure there's nothing else in there. That looks like it. And this one. Three things. That goes back in, and that is everything. And unbagging, so to speak, as opposed to the usual unboxing. Okay, I've been waiting for these. These are the Jinhao 80s. And I got them in two colors, the brown and the ivory. And then this is from Kaigelu. And it should be a Kaigelu 316 in a lavender color. Now, the reason I'm doing this on screen instead of unboxing these and then introducing you to them when they're already inked and ready to test is because the last things I unboxed, the ink froze and burst through the cartridges and went everywhere. So I was kind of hoping for the same experience here, but it looks like my ink survived. So let's see if there's a cartridge in here or a converter. An empty converter. A much safer way to send a pen in the winter. And that is a branded converter. Nice. It's a pull out, not a screw in. It's a very pretty color. So this is the 316, Kaigelu 316 in a, what do we have for a nib here? Let me see. F for fine. And Two Jinhao 80s also in fine. Let's see if they have cartridge converters. Yeah, also in fine. Yep. Hi, Emo. So this definitely does not feel like the Macrolon of the it's meant to look like a little bit like the Lamy 2000, but it doesn't feel like the Macrolon at all. It just feels like plastic. The Macrolon somehow feels different from straight plastic. And do this one and check that it has a converter. There's some staining on this feed. I hope that means it was tested. Standard converter. Nice snap action. Yeah, nice snap action with this one too. Okay, 3 new pens. I got these from AliExpress. Basically what it comes down to is I'm watching my pennies. And the new pens I wanted, that I really wanted, were all in the $200 US plus range. And to satisfy my need to have something coming, my need for anticipation, I understand that I have a need to anticipate arrival of something. I bought a couple of pens at like $6 each, and this one I think was $26 Canadian. And these were like $6.30 or something like that Canadian. So for less than $40, including shipping, I was able to get 3 pens rather than looking at the pens I wanted, which the cheapest amongst them was $225 US, not including shipping. And the most pricey amongst them was over $800. Yeah, so these are my replacement pens because we're watching our pennies. My husband wants to be able to retire someday. I would like that for him too. So I'm keeping it low key. there's going to be some more Chinese pens coming, just because you can get them for ridiculous amounts of money. And I don't want to get into the ethics of buying Chinese pens. There's quite a few really good videos about the ethics of buying Chinese manufactured pens. Chris Rapp 52 has done some. Douglas Rathbun has done some of Inquiring Minds. I'm just diving in and dipping my toes in to see what the quality is like. So 1 Kaigelu, 2 Jinhaos, and I will be back once I have flushed these clean and inked them. I'll be back in a moment. I'm back. The pens were flushed. Good thing, because both the Jinhao 80s had blue ink in them, so they were obviously tested in the factory. So yay for quality control. Hopefully the nibs will be decent. Hopefully whoever is testing them understands the difference between a good nib and a bad nib. This one, the Kaigelu, had no ink in it, so we'll wait and see how good their quality control is. So I'm going to show you what happens when I get a new pen and ink a new pen. Actually, I grabbed the wrong book to start. So the right book is my pen records book, and a cover by Handcrafted Leather Tea. And this is a record of all of my fountain pens. There's lots. I like fountain pens. I don't still have all of them. I've given some away. One went to the garbage. I've given a few away. So let's see, I think I'll put the Kaigelu first. A little bit of ink on that nib. Let me just wipe that off. There's ink on my fingers now from the inking process. It went smoothly, although I did get ink on me. That just happens. So Kaigelu 316, and I'm going to call this Lavender Black. Because of the black finials and section. This is a fine nib, and this will be number 110. That writes nicely. I definitely should have put that ink in it, because that's a better color match. That soft purple, that is, what is the word I'm looking for? Kaveco Summer Purple. This is Robert Oster Claret, but I already have this one inked with this Kaveco Summer Purple, and you can see why it's very purple. That was one of the 2 pens that showed up with burst ink cartridges. There was literally ink dripping out of the cap, ink dripping out of this end finial, ink everywhere. It was a complete mess. That's what you get for ordering pens in the winter in Canada. So next we'll do this ivory Jinhao 80. This is, as said, this is a Jinhao 80. Ivory. They called it white, but I cannot call it white because it is not white. F. That'll be number 111. Oops. That writes nicely so far. It's a very small example of the writing, but... And then the brown Jinhao 80. Brown. Fine nib, 112. So now I have to wait for the ink to dry, and then I can switch pages. So let me just pause you and I'll wait for that ink to dry. Okay, we're on the next page. So we're at page 110, where I will enter the information about this pen, and it posts, but it posts like a freaking wand and is very back weighted. So I will not be posting this pen. Good to know. So this is I am a bit shaky. I just had a caffeinated beverage. Kaigelu 316. And does post but too long. Twist cap. This is just kind of the order in which I write details about it. Body is lavender and black acrylic. Emo is doing his thing. He believes firmly that I should be downstairs giving him pets all day. And if I am not downstairs with him, he cries. He doesn't bother to come upstairs and hang out near me where I could pet him. No, he just cries. Body is lavender and black acrylic. Lavender is translucent. What else do I put in this section? Grip, gold toned. That is a cat hair. Actually, that looks like an eyelash. Probably an eyelash. Once it's dry, I will remove it. Gold toned hardware, black section, and finials. Very pretty. I'm allowed to put subjective comments here because it's my book. I can put whatever I want in it. Let's see, the nib is this case. It's a fine. Nib is a two-toned. Fine steel nib. Fine steel. Quite nice, actually. I am impressed. I didn't expect a whole lot from these pens because they are quite cheap. I mean, this was a $24 or $26 pen. Look at that finial with the little kangaroo with the joey in its pocket. The cap band doesn't say anything. It doesn't say Kaigelu. There's no obvious branding other than the logo. And it doesn't say 316 on it anywhere. The nib, as stated, is two-toned and has that kangaroo with the joey on it, as well as a very small F for fine. This is a very nice pen. A very nice nib. Purchased from AliExpress. And from what I've heard, it's not worth writing down which AliExpress store you got it from, because stores come and go so quickly and they bounce around. So I got it from AliExpress. I can find it via AliExpress. And received in December. 2022. Let's see what else. Oh, what it's inked with. Inked with Robert Ulster Claret. And what else do we usually put in this section? This is a converter pen. This is a cartridge converter pen. And then it's time for messiness. This is a very smooth nib. I'm getting no scratchiness, barely any feedback. It's reasonably wet. It's not overly wet. What do I put next? Lovely nib. Classy. Oh, I'm impressed. Now you'll notice one thing I don't put on this page is the cost of the pens. Partly because pen values change with time. What was a $35 TWSBI pen is now a $47 TWSBI pen. They change over time. Also partly because when my husband goes through this book, I don't necessarily need him to see how much I spent on individual pens. He knows because he has bought some of the more expensive ones for me as gifts, but I don't ever want to be tempted to add it all up. That strikes me as just a depressing thing to do and a horrifying thing to do. So I don't put the price. Let's see, would I buy this again? Would I recommend this pen? This pen. I am going to withhold judgment on that until I have written and cleaned it out, written with it until this cartridge runs, or converter runs dry, and then cleaned it out. I got a good fill. You can see that that's a good fill. I say a lot, sorry. There is acrylic directly on metal threads, so I don't expect this pen to have a long life. This will not be one that gets handed down to another generation. This is a one owner type of pen. Yeah, I'll fill in would I recommend this pen at a later date once I've used it a bit. So next up is the ivory pen, but I'm going to check that because I don't want to mix up the pens. Yeah, the ivory pen is next. Just make sure this is all dry. Yes, it is. Move my blotting paper to underneath. I don't need my blotting paper in this case. These are fine nibs. Do they post? Yes, they do. Oh, that's nice and secure. Yay. So this is a Jinhao 80. Posts well. And snap cap. Body is ivory acrylic. I'm just going to put plain old plastic. With gold toned hardware. I like this ring here. It's attractive and it makes a visual, he's really giving her, a nice visual break point to tell you where to put your fingers. I even like this little nib. Now I wasn't sure, ooh, that's some ink. Let me take that off. That's better. I wasn't sure how these nibs would be, so I did order a replacement nib for one of these pens. That will be coming in late January or early February. Just in case one of these had a bad nib. But for now, I'm not unimpressed. Ivory acrylic, plain old plastic with gold toned hardware. There are striations on the body, similar to those on my Lamy 2000. And you can really see the difference, obviously, is piston filler, cartridge converter, metal, stainless steel section, plastic section, no ring, ink window, blah, blah, yada, yada, gold nib, hooded nib, etc. But closed, the similarity is definitely there. Definitely there. Closed, they look very similar. Right down to the little spot of metal trim on the lower finial. But once you open them, it is very obvious that you're looking at a completely different pen. So let's just recap this, repost this. Next up is nib. It's a gold toned fine steel. Purchased from AliExpress. Received in December of 2019, or 2022, sorry. Where did that come from? Oh my gosh, 2022. It's like 2020 and 21 vanished. Okay. Inked with Colorverse Kingdom series. Tapyong Seongdae. And this is a cartridge converter pen. Standard and International. Standard International cartridge converter pen. smooth in all directions that this particular squiggle shows. Now, how wet are you? Oh, Emo, you came into the office. Come up onto the chair where I can pet you. Come up onto the chair where I can pet you. Here, the people want to see their loud cat. Come on. Momo. No. No, he's going away. He came up to register his displeasure and is now leaving. Decent nib. For an Asian fine. Now he's going away and registering his displeasure that I'm not following him. Can't win with him. Decent nib for an Asian fine. Pleasant writing experience. Why did I choose this ink? No reason, except I got it recently and haven't inked it in a pen yet, and I knew it would be pretty, and that's a pretty combination with the gold trim and the ivory plastic and that beautiful rich olive green. It's like a slightly more yellowed version of Rohrer and Klingner Alt Goldgrün. Would I recommend this pen? This pen, again, I will reserve judgment until I have used it for a bit and seen if there are any problems. So this pen and this pen are exactly the same except the colors. So I'm not going to subject you to another page of writing because you don't need to see that. I did buy two. I couldn't decide between the two colors, and I liked both of them very much, but there was also black with silver hardware, black with gold hardware. I think there was even black with black hardware. There was a blue, there was a green, there was a burgundy, there was a bright red, there was a dark, yeah, greens. I think there was a dark green and a light green. Anyway, there's lots of colors, and this one was less than $10, I think. $5.30 or $6.30, something like that. I think $6.30. Stupidly cheap. Free shipping. Like, I don't know how they do it. But I was thinking it might go nicely with the brown stripes on my Hobonichi cousin cover. And look at that, it really does. Let's see on the front where there's more of the brown. That really does go nicely. Sorry about that glare. There. It really does go nicely. And it will slip into the pen holder quite easily, she says, before screwing it up. Oh, here comes Nell. So I think this might be my Hobonichi cousin pen. And the ivory one will just be for fun. Oh, sorry. Sorry about your view. I didn't even notice her get there. That was Nell, who is not whining. She knows what to do if she wants pets. She comes up here and stands next to me, takes over the screen. She is now laying on her chair, looking smug because she does the right thing. So this one also matches very nicely. The ivory with the off-white cotton of the background fabric. So either of these will go very nicely with my Hobonichi cousin. And the fine nib is perfect for that 3.7 millimeter grid pattern in the Hobonichi. So yeah, new pen day. So I have entered the pens, well, not the brown one, but into my new pen book, my pen acquisition book, my pen records book. I will also enter them into the ink book So each ink has a page wherein I will write what pen I've put it in. And I will also enter it into my Inky Fingers book and into my spreadsheet because I like pulling statistics. I will be pulling statistics over the Christmas holiday for what were my most commonly used pens and inks this year, and I will be doing a report on that, a video on that. Oh, this is 20 minutes long and this is just half. Okay, I'll shut up now. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I hope you got some pens cleaned or some other monotonous task done while I was droning on. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.